What's going on, guys? Carmine here, and now that it's been a good 10 days since the trailer has come out, I've been gathering up some of the questions some of you have been asking, and I'll be answering them today. Granted, I'm sure some of them have been answered already on other videos, so I'll try to stay away from those, but I'm going to go through some of the main ones I myself keep getting in the comment section and through inbox. I'll be trying to keep the spoilers as minimal as possible, so don't worry if you haven't caught up with the books. Keep in mind, though, that the show has pretty much caught up with almost all of the storylines in the books, except for some of the Greyjoy content and other stuff which they left out. Okay, so here we go. First question. Where is Gendry, and will we see him again this season? This is the main one I keep getting, and the reason I'm bringing this back is because I have a small theory that I think the showrunners would be doing. Last season, we were led to believe that Peter's gift to Olenna was Lancel, but I don't think so. Lancel joined the Faith long before then, and it is possible that he confessed his sins to the High Sparrow way before Peter came into the mix. The only reason I believe that the High Sparrow arrested Cersei when he did is because she allowed his power to grow a little too much. When the High Sparrow arrested Margaery last season, he saw that none of the Kingsguard, or anybody else for that matter, tried to stop him. I'm going to assume that when he saw how weak Tommen was at being in charge, he knew he could get away with arresting her too. I believe Peter's gift is actually Gendry. The reason I believe this is not because of that leaked Season 6 script, which may or may not be true, but because of Gendry's position at the end of Season 3 and Peter's position at the beginning of Season 4. When Davos freed Gendry, he sent him back to King's Landing from Dragonstone, which is where Stannis lives. Dragonstone is right off the coast of King's Landing. In Season 4, when Sansa runs away from the city, Peter is still near the coast, even though he was supposed to be gone. My thinking is that Peter encountered Gendry and quickly found out who he was and kept him hidden away just in case. I assume during Cersei's trial that they will try to use Gendry to paint Cersei as a monster for killing children back in Season 2. Yes, I know it was all Joffrey's doing, but they'll probably won't care and blame her regardless. Question 2. Why do I think Dario is the leader of the Harpies? Well, I rewatched all of Season 4 and 5 with my girlfriend last month to prepare her for Season 6, and as I continued to watch, I started noticing how Dario really makes some rash decisions around Dany. For example, he tried to convince her to marry him, which even he had to admit was kind of a dumb idea, and he told her to kill all the Masters, automatically assuming that they were the ones behind the Harpy killings, but that wouldn't make much sense considering the Masters are, well, lazy rich people. I don't think many of them could kill so many Unsullied so easily, even with their numbers. The men who attacked Grey Worm and Barristan weren't too skillful, but just enough to pose a problem. I'm sure there were some Masters, and some of them were mercenaries mixed in there. Dario also left with his Dar last season to treat with the Masters back in Yunkai. It's possible they struck some kind of deal with Dario behind closed doors to create chaos inside Meereen to overwhelm Dany and bring her down. Dario knows that her biggest strengths are on her advisors and her army. The Harpies ambush the Unsullied with some of the mercs, and Dario takes care of her by giving her terrible advice. Before Barristan died, he told Dany to let Barristan go do his patrol and that he could protect her. Seemed a little too convenient that Barristan died later on, but that is just my little theory. But rewatch Season 4 and 5 again and put your suspicions on Dario and you'll start to see what I mean. Like I said, maybe it's just me, but something about him just doesn't seem right though. Next question, what will Davos do now that Stannis is gone? My guess is that he'll try to finish what Stannis began, and then maybe afterwards he'll find Gendry and set him up as the last Baratheon. Tommen is supposedly the last Baratheon, but we know the truth. He's a bastard. In the book, Stannis is still alive, and Davos is on a mission from him to get support from the Northern Lords. I assume the show will have him help the Starks retake the North? He's a good man, and he was very loyal, so my thinking here is that maybe Melisandre will spin a lie to him that the Boltons killed Stannis and his daughter, and try to get him to help root out the Boltons from Winterfell. Next question, what's going to happen to Cersei now? Well, if they're following the books, they will have a trial for her. Because Lancel spilled on all her plans, the High Sparrow believes that she had a hand in King Robert's death, and she kind of did. In the beginning of Season 5, you can even see Lancel talking to her about it. If Gendry pops up and claims she tried to have him and the other children killed because they were bastards who'd have a much better claim than her bastards, then she'll ask for a trial by combat and call on the Franken Mountain to be her champion. There's this really cool thing in the books that involves her sending a letter to Jaime requesting him to come back to the city for the trial, and I won't spoil it, but I do find it such a shame that it most likely won't be happening. In the books, Jaime and Cersei's relationship go downhill, and they aren't as into each other as they are in the show. I won't go into any more detail, but you guys definitely check out the 4th book, A Feast for Crows. Next question, will we finally see the Tyrells fight back? Yeah, I think so. Mace has kind of been a pushover since his introduction in Season 4. I love the guy, and he's that lovable grandpa you just know embarrasses you. In the trailer, we see Jaime leading some Tyrell soldiers to go get Marjorie. Some of you guys were confused and thought I meant the soldier with the feather was Jaime, but I meant the guy at the top of the stairs. Also, I don't think you'll be seeing much of Loras Tyrell anymore. The actor who plays Loras, Finn Jones, has been cast as Daniel Rand in Marvel's Iron Fist television series for Netflix. His character won't exactly die off, but you just won't see much of him anymore, just like we barely saw Brienne for most of all of Season 5, because she was off shooting the new Star Wars film, where, ironically, she didn't have much screen time either. But yeah, I do expect the Tyrells to stop being pushovers this season and actually get shit done. Mace will probably call in some of his bannermen, and that is probably how we'll get to see Randall Tarley. Next question, do you really think Stannis is dead? Yeah, I think he's done. It did look like a fake out on the show's part by not showing his death, but the director of the episode himself said the reason they chose to do that is because they didn't want to keep beating the character down after his wife and daughter died and his entire army was wiped out. I can understand what they mean. They didn't want to be too gratuitous with his losses. I think he's dead, but it is weird for the show not to give us some blood when someone dies, so I can understand why people believe he's still alive. And to be honest, I think the character was doomed from the beginning. I believe that the showrunners really didn't like Stannis in the novels and really didn't do the character any justice on screen. The Stannis in the show is much different than the one in the books, so I do think the showrunners had a bit of bias when putting him on screen, but that could be because they rushed his storyline too much and didn't want to keep him around. Keep in mind that they do know how the story ends, so they probably wanted to wipe Stannis off now and not continue on with building his character, which is a shame because I really did like his side of things, but I also understand they're pressed for time. Then I get mad when I realize they could have cut more Sam and Gilly scenes in favor of Stannis. Next question, do you think the Night's Watch will set out to hunt down the wildlings? That's a tricky one. I think it'd be dumb of them to even try, considering they still have less than 50 men over at Castle Black. I still believe that the Night's Watch will contact the Boltons for help on this one, or that maybe the Boltons had the disgruntled leader of the Night's Watch kill Jon, and in return, they'd help them with the wildling attack. I really do believe Ramsay had something to do with Jon's stabbing, and maybe that is just me hoping for the pink letter scenario? Last question, now that Jon Snow is dead, will he finally take up the mantle of Jon Stark when he returns? That would be a nice little cheat code there. In the books, it's strongly implied that Robb made Jon his heir should he and his wife not have a child. What I'm thinking is that maybe Stannis legitimized Jon before his death and sent the letter to the Wall with Davos. Remember how Stannis sent Davos away to get Jon's help? Maybe when Jon comes back, he'll finally have a reason to fight for his home. Jon Snow was a member of the Night's Watch, but Jon Snow is dead, and Jon Stark has risen to reclaim his home. It's like Lyanna Mormont said, the North knows no true king but the King of the North, whose name is Stark. The Northern Lords will rally to his side, or maybe they'll rally to Rickon's side and Jon will be there to help out. Thus the battle in the North. But then again, this is all my speculation. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to leave them down below and I will try to answer as many as I can. I also want to thank everybody for entering the contest over on my Facebook page. I asked Home Leisure Direct if they had any more signed copies, but unfortunately they don't. So even if you don't win, I still got something for you guys next week. So thank you for watching, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you all next time. Have a good one.